The first thing every driver learns is to trust the little stars. 5, and you expect a tip and polite small talk. 4, and you brace for mild rudeness or a lingering smell of fast food. 3 means someone who might slam the door or argue about the route. 2 promises an unpaid therapy session with a drunk who will weep on your shoulder. 1, officially, the company claims there are no one-star riders because anyone whose rating sinks that low is deactivated. Yet every night, buried under bonus offers no sane driver touches, a single line of text flickers on my screen. Priority request, rider rating 1, triple fare and guaranteed tip. I started accepting them 6 weeks ago. Rent was late, my rear tire was bald, and triple fares looked like mercy. The rides were short, only 4 to 8 minutes, each ending at an address that dissolved when I tried to tap it later. The passengers never spoke more than a sentence or two, never tipped, and always smelled vaguely of damp stone, but nothing worse than a sports fan after a game. Each time I dropped one off, my car's interior lights dimmed, as if the battery hiccuped, and I felt tired enough to sleep in the driveway. This Tuesday started like any other graveyard shift. Rain hung over the city like a dirty sheet. Headlights blurred into comets on every slick street. At 11:19 p.m., the ping came, vibrating up my arm. The now familiar priority request. I hesitated, thumb hovering over the green button. Triple fare, 8 minutes away. Accept. The map pointed me toward a neighborhood built before zoning existed. Dead-end lanes, buckled sidewalks, sagging houses whose porches leaned forward like old men straining to hear. My passenger waited on the corner beneath a busted street lamp. Hood up, hands shoved into a varsity jacket 2 decades out of style. The photo on my screen showed a smiling kid wearing the same jacket, but the face outside was paler, thinner, jaw set tight as if he'd been clenching it for years. I unlocked the doors. "Jared?" He slid in behind me. "Yeah," he said, voice flat. Water dripped off his sleeves. The app started counting miles. For 3 blocks, we didn't speak. Wipers thumped. I kept one eye on the kid in the rear view. Something about him itched. He didn't fidget the way nervous riders do. He just stared out the window like the glass might dissolve if he concentrated. Then my phone chimed with a different sound, soft, descending, as though someone had opened a trap door under a musical note. I glanced at the screen. Where it had shown rider rating 1, now flashed 0.9. Ratings never change mid-ride. Their averages updated after trips end. I told myself it was a glitch and focused on the road. "Rough night?" I asked, fishing for any normal conversation. "No worse than the last one," Jared said. He exhaled, and the car smelled briefly like cold basement. 2 more blocks, another chime. 0.8. In the mirror, Jared's silhouette seemed broader. His jacket looked puffed around the shoulders, as if something beneath the fabric pressed outward. Breathing trick of shadows, I decided, but my hands tightened on the wheel. The phone chimed again. 0.7. "Everything okay back there?" I asked. He met my eyes in the mirror. His pupils were enormous, swallowing the iris, and there was no reflected glow from the dashboard lights. "Getting worse," he muttered, and his lips looked wrong, as though a second pair lay beneath the first, thicker and darker, trying to push through. My scalp prickled. I accelerated even though the limit was 25. Only 4 minutes left. The map arrow pulsed toward a cul-de-sac near the river. 0.6. The seams of Jared's jacket split an inch at each shoulder, with a whispered rip. Something slick and mottled writhed underneath. I caught it in the mirror, grayish skin like dolphin hide, but glinting with faint scales. My mouth went sand-dry. "Hey man, you feeling all right?" Useless question, but silence was worse. "Almost time," he answered softly. "Never lasts long. 0.5. His head bulged. Hairline rose. Ears shrinking back into the skull. The rips widened, dangling threads. I heard small clicks like knuckles cracking rapidly, maybe inside his chest. The car filled with a salt marsh odor. Instinct screamed, "Pull over. Run." But if I stopped, would that finish the transformation sooner? The only thing more terrifying than being near him was the thought of letting him out in some quiet neighborhood. 0. 4. He hunched forward. Bone or chitin, something armor hard pressed against the cloth-like ridges. His hands flattened on the seat. Fingers stretched impossibly long, shedding nails that pinged on the floor mat. I reached a four-way stop and ignored it, sailing through the intersection. My heartbeat hammered so loud I expected him to hear. 30 seconds, maybe 40, until the destination pin. The rating dropped in 2 quick steps. 0.3, 0.2. My phone vibrated continuously, a dying insect. Jared groaned. The sound held no hint of human speech now, only tidal suction. His jaw split wider, a third row of teeth lay glistening behind the second, eyes black as oil. One more turn. The pin floated over an empty lot choked with blackberry vines. No house, no lights. I slammed the brakes. Gravel sprayed the fenders. "Get out," I whispered. My breath fogged the windshield. He lifted his head. For a moment beneath the shifting planes of his face, the boy in the profile picture returned, pleading. "I can't open the door yet," he rasped. "Not till it hits." 0.1. A whine escaped his throat, rising into an alien keening that made my teeth hurt. The door handle behind me rattled by itself, metal bending outward. 0. Every panel in the car popped outward with the sound of corn kernels bursting in hot oil. Something vast unfolded in the back seat, too big for the cabin, yet the walls stretched like rubber instead of shattering. Cyan light spilled from fissures in the roof. I glimpsed fins? Wings? Impossible to catalog, a shape poured from nightmare geometry. I pushed shoulder against my door. Locked? Child safety feature I set months ago and never disabled. Panic devoured rational thought. My mind reduced to a single primitive howl. Out. Then, just as quickly, the pressure eased. Metal shrank back. The smell faded. Rain tapped calmly overhead. In the mirror sat Jared again. Sweaty, pale, but human. His rating blinked 1. He opened the door, stepped into the mud, and leaned down. 5 stars, he said, voice hoarse. Thanks for not looking away. I didn't answer. Couldn't. He trudged into the blackberry snarl and vanished. The next morning I convinced myself exhaustion had brewed hallucinations. But 3 new toenail-shaped crescents lay on the back seat vinyl, each the size of a guitar pick and harder than enamel. I threw them in the trash and swore I was done with priority requests. Friday I was behind on rent again. When the ping came at 12:07 a.m. I stared at it 3 full minutes before accepting. Triple fare, 8 minutes, same terms. This pickup stood in front of a 24-hour laundromat, folding a purple scarf. Her picture showed neat bangs and librarian glasses. In real life, her skin was translucent as baking parchment. I could see the veins like blue map lines. "Angela?" I said. "Yes," she replied, climbing in. She smelled faintly of lavender and something rusty. The rating read 1. The destination was the airport, 15 miles south, longer than any previous ride. My stomach twisted. I merged onto the highway. Midnight traffic was light. Taillights smeared into rubies across wet asphalt. Angela hummed under her breath, a nursery tune I half remembered. I kept checking the app. 5 minutes, still 1. 10 minutes, 0.9. She stopped humming. "Do you know why we fall?" she asked, voice mild. "Excuse me?" "Ratings. They're ballast. When enough drains away, the rest of us lifts." She smiled. Her teeth were pointed but delicately, the way a cat's fangs are elegant until they puncture. "I don't follow. You will." 0.8. From the corner of my eye, I saw her left arm lengthen, not stretch, lengthen, each bone adding an extra segment, elbow sliding farther down the sleeve. She stroked the window with fingers that now ended in glassy claws the color of coals. "You can leave," I said. "I'll pull over." Angela shook her head. "Not at this speed." I debated slamming the brakes, creating a barricade of metal and police reports between her and me. But the road was slick and semis thundered past at 70.7. A low mumble static filled the cabin, like radio voices trapped between stations. Skin peeled from Angela's cheeks, in papery curls, revealing a second skin beneath. Smooth, dark, and squid-shiny. She exhaled, and the windshield iced from the inside, white veins spreading across the glass until the wipers groaned uselessly. I swerved onto the shoulder, tires screaming. A horn blared behind us. The car came to rest, shaking. I fumbled for the lock button and heard all 4 doors click open. Angela's rating plunged. 0.6, 0.5. She unbuckled slowly, joints popping like fireworks on distant hills. "It's better if you don't watch," she advised. The pupils melted from her eyes, leaving blank silver pools. I threw the driver's door open and tumbled into rain. Highway gravel cut my palms. I scrambled to my feet, ready to sprint. Then I thought of whoever might pick her up next. An airport shuttle full of families, maybe. If this madness had rules, perhaps I could bend them. I yanked the phone from its cradle, tapped her profile, and because the universe occasionally gifts a button in the right place selection, rate your brighter now. 5 stars. Submit. The number beside her name jumped back to 1. The static ceased. Frost evaporated from the glass. I peered inside. Angela sat with hands folded demurely, ordinary again, though her clothes hung looser, as if she'd shed mass she couldn't reclaim. She opened her door a crack. Rain speckled her glasses. "You clever boy," she said, "but it won't save you forever." She stepped out, scarf fluttering like a severed vein, and walked into darkness between the reflector posts, humming the nursery song. I drove home, shaking but alive. I should have deleted the app that night. Addiction, however, isn't always to pleasure. Sometimes we're addicted to comprehension. I needed to know what sat at the end of this chain of falling stars. I spent Saturday reading driver forums, digging code from the APK, cross-referencing press releases. The app's parent company had no listed office, only a P.O. box in Delaware and servers in Iceland. Rides originating between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. accounted for 0.003% of total volume, yet generated 17% of revenue. No one could explain why. By dawn, I had a theory too insane to share even anonymously. The app wasn't transporting people at all, but something wearing them, using ratings as a containment field. 5 stars equals locked. 1 star equals cracking. 0 equals open gate. So why lure drivers with triple fare? Probably because it needed witnesses. Maybe fear seasoned the meat of reality, made it tender. Or perhaps drivers served as mobile cages. Better one human risked rupture on a highway than the creature burst free in a crowded apartment. Midnight Sunday arrived. Wallet balance $42.11. I stared at the screen, sweating. When the priority ping arrived, I accepted, whispering an apology to no one I could name. The pickup point was an alley behind a shuttered nightclub. Sodium lights rendered everything narcotic orange. My passenger emerged from a doorway strangled by graffiti, tall, thin, wearing a charcoal suit that glimmered like fish skin under the lamps. No profile picture this time, just a blank silhouette. Name, Mr. North. Rating, 1. Destination, TBD. The letters flickered. He slid into the front seat, surprising me. All others had chosen the back. His fingers were long, ending in blunt, perfect squares of nail. A faint sour milk odor clung to him, nostalgic and terrible. "Where to?" I asked. "Drive," he said, smiling without showing teeth. I pulled away, pulse booming behind my eyes. The alley spat us onto First Avenue. Any direction in particular? "Follow the water," he murmured. "We'll know when we're ready." 0.9. That quick? I hadn't driven a block. I set my phone in the cup holder where he could see my thumb hovering over the rating button. His smile widened. "You think they didn't plan for that?" he asked. "Ratings granted prematurely are void. Only the driver who finishes the contract can seal it." He tapped the dash lightly. Every indicator light flashed any oil. Airbag, then died. My headlights sputtered but stayed on. 0.8. "I want to understand," I said, voice shaking. "What are you?" "A verb," he answered. "A tidal verb. The universe conjugates us when the locks rust through." Cryptic nonsense, yet my bones believed. 0.7. His jawline elongated, tapering to a prow. The skin along his neck blistered into pearly bubbles that popped, releasing steam. I smelled tidal flats at low tide, thick with rotting kelp. We were parallel to Elliott Bay now, warehouses on the left, silent cranes looming like gallows. 0.6. My phone vibrated non-stop, a trapped bat. Fear sharpened into clarity. I could not outrun this thing, nor raid it back into submission, but maybe I could strand it. I wrenched the wheel toward Pier 48, abandoned since the earthquake. The gate was down, chain rotted away. We bounced over cracked asphalt toward the black water. Mr. North watched calmly, though his eyes had turned vertical slit, glowing faint amber. "If you intend to drown me," he said, "you should know water is only a door." "I'm not drowning you," I replied. I slammed the brakes 10 feet from the seawall. "I'm offering an exchange." 0.5. He cocked his head, Sega sense separated along his shoulders, sleek membranous panels rose like sails. "Every lock needs a key," I said. "It stands to reason every door needs a lock." I held up the phone. "What if I finish the ride?" Surprise flickered across the shifting topology of his face. Then delight. "You wish to take my seat? I want the bleeding to stop. I rate you 5 stars. I drive until sunrise. Whatever rules you follow should bind you." 0.4. His tongue forked in 3 directions, tasting the air. "You assume the cage fits you." "I drive nights anyway," I answered. "At least this time I'll know why." 0.3. He considered. The bay lapped wood pilings behind us, a slow applause. Finally, he inclined his head. "Done." He reached out and with a single nail, no longer blunt at all, tapped the screen. "Destination updated. Completed." A prompt glowed. "Rate your rider." My hand shook as I pressed 5 stars. Rating locked at 5. Mr. North exhaled a sigh that smelled like lilacs after rain. His features resolved into those of an ordinary middle-aged man, slight paunch, crow's feet, tired accountant eyes. He opened the door, stepped onto the pier, and straightened his tie. "You volunteered for a tedious post," he said, "but I sense you have the patience of sedimentary rock." He offered a curt bow. Then he walked into the shadows under a crane and dissolved, not in a flash or puff, but in the way a memory evaporates upon waking. Impossible to name the moment it's gone. The app chimed. "Congratulations, you are now a Platinum Containment Partner. New terms and conditions apply." A list unfurled, longer than any court brief. At the bottom, active contract, maintain rating threshold, failure results in termination of corporeal license. Another ping, priority request, rider rating 1, triple fare, pick up in 4 minutes, 2 blocks from my house. I looked at the night mirror. My reflection held, but the pupils were deeper than before, depthless. I smiled the way one smiles before descending a long hill without brakes, and tapped accept.